me. So check this out. This will be really fun. Give me a minute.
Somehow you got me crossed up now talking about Testament, probably one of the most quintessential thrash bands in terms of delivery, and they happen to have genius musicians throughout the whole damn thing. But my funnest thing was I was in Denmark and saw Alex Skolnick playing guitar at Testament again for the first time, and I hadn't seen the guy in 15 years. And we talked, and Alex was fantastic, and I convinced Alex, I didn't convince him, I said, dude, come play Bury Me in Smoke. At the end of the set, three notes, bullshit thing. He came out there, I gave him a Firebird, not an Ibanez, not some crazy guitar, just a rinky-dink Firebird, and he stepped on a wah-wah pedal, and he went into 70s guitar mode, and my knees buckled. I was like, dude. He was playing my guitar over the rest. Everybody plays, we all leave the stage, and other musicians finish the song. And he killed it. I was watching him do harmonies on top of things. I was like, that blew my mind. That was probably my favorite thing of the whole tour. That's how good he was and how he could really adapt to a situation, obviously, Alex Skolnick, and nail it. And he's humble, and it's cool. It was great to see him again. He's got gray hair, but he looks great.
Alex, welcome to Alive and Streaming. What an intro, huh?
That was awesome. Best intro ever.
Yeah, I saw that. I go, you know what? Pepper Keenan's goddamn right. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have this intro. I never had an intro for my guest, but I saw that. I go, it's very fitting for Mr. Skolnick.
Oh, so cool. That makes me want to get a Firebird. I remember that Firebird.
Oh, there you go. Alex, you're going live from New York. I was expecting you probably in your den, but you're in Central Park. What you doing out there?
Yeah, I'm on my bike. It's a beautiful day. And, there's in New York, when you live in the city, you don't have a car. It's better not to have a car. But, transportation has slowed down due to the great slowdown of 2020. Of
course.
And the bike has just become essential. So I go everywhere.
And it's a good workout too, That
it's a really good workout. It's a real good workout. And I have a friend who is a jazz concert photographer promoter, and he's putting on concerts.
Wow.
So he put on a concert today, and it was a really good one, and somebody I really wanted to see, and also just a beautiful day. And I just thought, you know what? All right, I'm gonna ride in. I'll make sure I have signal to do the interview.
Okay. Right on.
And I'll do it'll be more fun. I'll do the interview from Central Park by bike and give you guys all a taste of New York.
Right on. Well, Alex, it's not actually an interview. It's more of a conversation.
Okay. Even better.
Yeah. Alex,
I'll give you a look around too.
There you go. Please. Yeah. Look at that. Look at it's a nice day out in New York.
Yeah, now I found a quiet spot, not too many people around, but people are out. There's so much space that it feels safe. And I hear like 3 different bands playing. Like the musicians are all they've been stir crazy. They haven't been able to play for months. And there's like there's just music and fresh air. It's very nice. So you gotta get it in while we can before winter.
That's true. Now it's an outdoor festival. Everyone's social distancing and whatnot.
Yeah. It's not even a festival. It's more like a little corner of the park. This park is huge. It's like Golden Gate Park multiplied.
Okay.
And it's just like the concert I saw was just one little area. There, not people definitely spread out. There's a very loud bird next to me.
I can hear.
And but yeah, nobody next to each other. Just like benches, but like one person per bench, and then people, a few people sitting on grass, but nobody near each other unless they were together. Very chill, very casual, safe, very safe. Shut up.
Good. There you go. Just give the bird some food. I know you
flip the bird.
Yeah, flip the bird. I know you got some snacks on you. You can just feed it to him when you can. Alex, we've done so many tours together, played so many shows, but I never got to actually sit and hang out with you. You're always busy. For example, like every time I wake up on tour, as soon as I step out of the tour bus, I see you running. You're always running around certain cities. And you're just a busy dude. And I'd always want to sit down and talk to you and get to know who Alex Skolnick is, because I hung out with everyone else. But, I just catch you at the wrong time. So this is the right time, I guess. So
yeah, I'm not a bit of a workaholic, so I'm always doing stuff. But yeah, it's great you're doing this. This works.
Thank you.
This is a very cool thing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And the people who are watching enjoyed it, and they actually, I get messages asking, hey, could you get Alex Skolnick on? I go, yeah, and I didn't have your number, so I had to reach out to our good old friend Jeff Bruce to let you know that I was looking for you.
Yeah.
So
I got the message.
Here we go.
I'm glad we're connected. Now we should have had each other's numbers. So
yeah, we should have been connected a while back.
Yeah.
Anyways, Alex, I want to I just want to ask you, do you have siblings who play music?
Yeah, I have an older brother.
Okay.
And he, in a way, he helped introduce me to the club scene in the Bay Area. So he was playing gigs when I was about, I don't know, like 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
He's 7 years older.
Okay.
So he was doing the music thing, and he was more into bands like ska, new wave, a lot of he liked at that time the Cars, Gary Newman, stuff like that.
Yeah, that was big in the 80s or late 70s.
Yeah, so he was in this one band, Freaky Executives, that played.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, they had got a pretty big following, and they ended up being a big draw in the Bay Area. The guitarist for Freak Executives, he was the guy who replaced Kirk in Exodus, Mike Mong.
Wow.
And he was only there a short time. He decided he'd rather do more like ska, funk, even though he liked metal too, but he didn't want to do metal full time. So he was very briefly in Exodus, but they were good friends. And I went to those gigs and a couple after parties, and the Exodus guys would be hanging out because they were buds with Mike. And that's when I met those guys and heard about their band. And then, of course, I saw Exodus and then was mind blown by Exodus. And at that point, I was still really young. I was probably like 14 or 15. And then I heard about Legacy, who was opening for Exodus and Slayer. And I think they opened for Megadeth when Megadeth was brand new. And then I heard they needed a guitar player. And that was kind of how that all started. But indirectly, it had to do with my older sibling, who got to know the Exodus guys through the Bay Area music scene.
Wow, that's really interesting. Now you have an older sibling, a brother who played guitar. Were your parents musical too? No, completely no instruments. Just like academics, like hardcore PhD academics. Wow. Were they strict on you? Was like were they supportive of music, or did they want you to go another route?
No, it was definitely something they put up with more than supported.
So they wanted you to be a PhD too.
Yes.
So
like a social scientist.
Wow.
Do research papers, contribute to academic journal. Yeah. One of these like really quiet, people that does studies and maybe occasionally goes on public television as an expert in some behavior. Just a completely different than the path I got into.
Gotcha. Now, I saw an interview with Eric Peterson and Zetro, and I think Eric mentioned at one of the legacy gigs you had to sneak out of the house to do the gig.
It's not 100% true. I mean,
okay. Like Eric
gig,
mentioned, like you and him snuck out of your window, did the gig, and you guys snuck back in.
Yeah, it was. You know how over time, like the myth starts developing. Like,
yeah,
I think it was a rehearsal. Whatever, and I think I was like allowed to rehearse once a week.
Wow.
But with the gig coming up, we needed to rehearse twice a week. So yeah, wow. I snuck out for those extra rehearsals.
Wow. So your parents were your parents strict? Were they like, even though you said they tolerated you playing guitar, were they more like, get your homework done first, then you could start playing your guitar? Were they that type of?
Not really. It was just more, get your homework done. Just read, which is good. I think, the reading stuck with me, but yeah, it was, I think it got to a certain point where they just had to accept, all right, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to Cal and for my undergrad and then pursuing my PhD at Yale.
Yeah.
Which is where they both went.
Gotcha.
So, but they learned to appreciate it after a while. I mean, thrash metal, they just thought it was insane music. And they were older than most of my friends' parents. Most of my friends' parents were like the Woodstock generation.
Yes.
They'd been hippies. They'd been into rock and roll. My parents were older. They were in their 40s. So, they'd grown up before, it was like Frank Sinatra and maybe like early rock, but they weren't like rock fans. And so thrash metal was just like insane. It made no sense.
Have they been out to any earlier Testament shows? What did they think of that?
Yeah, well, they finally went when we were supporting bigger bands, which was good. So they saw, for example, they saw us supporting Priest.
That was at the Oakland Coliseum, right?
Coliseum, yeah.
Yeah. What did they think of that?
And then
was that a realization like, okay, you got this covered?
Yeah, there was that was a key moment. The arena right across from where we'd gone to Oakland A's games.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's obviously something going on here. And then a couple years later, I did my first instrumental tour with my buddy Stu Ham.
Wow.
Who I'm still playing with. Yeah. And then that was like, oh, that's like music they could actually listen to. Because like Stu's stuff, even though
it's more digestible for them.
Yeah, and he's known for more like the Satriani Vai stuff that he played on, but his own music is very diverse, and it's got it's jazzy, there's blues, it's funk. So I think once they saw me there, and doing that kind of stuff, like that was just much more relatable. And they've been really supportive ever since. They're like the parents that I wished I had back then.
Gotcha.
They want to come to the gigs. Not the metal gigs. They accept the metal gigs, but they really like the jazz gigs and the other stuff. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of jazz, you went to school in New York for jazz. When did your love for jazz come about? Was it during the Legacy days, Testament? Or was it when you first picked up the guitar? Where did that love come from?
Yeah, it was a little later, because I went through my initial guitar phase. At first, like I had a couple different periods, right? I had my first couple years of guitar, I didn't even know what kind of guitarist I wanted to be, right? Like ages 10 through 12, I wanted to be, I don't know, I was really into the Beatles, 50s rock. Yeah, I loved Chuck Berry. And of course, Kiss. So Kiss was sort of the, the instigator that just really made me want to play guitar. Seeing, guys that looked like Marvel superheroes playing guitars. And I'd already liked all this other music, but I didn't know, do I want to be like a Paul who sings and plays guitar, or one of the Beatles guys, or like, one of these 50s guys, or do I want to be more of an Ace who plays lead guitar? And I wasn't sure. I was like singing and learning songs for the first couple of years. And then Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, hearing them like in the early 80s, that was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to really do this kind of guitar. That just really, that was where I was coming from right up until joining Testament in mid 80s. But by the time we did our second album, I was discovering all this jazz that I liked.
Wow.
I started with like jazz rock, like some of the late Miles Davis stuff. It almost doesn't sound like jazz, right? He's got screaming guitar. And I later found out, the guitarists included John Schofield, Robin Ford, Mike Stern. And these are big guitar names. But when I heard that music for the first time, I didn't know any of those guys. I didn't know about the music. I just dug it because it was like funky bass. The guy who plays for the Stones now, Daryl Jones.
Okay.
He was playing for Miles Davis. So like hearing guys like Daryl Jones, John Schofield, and I didn't know, I knew the name Miles Davis, but I didn't know he had all this history. And I wanted to learn that music. I hadn't been excited about learning music because I kind of felt like, okay, I loved the early Van Halen stuff and the Randy stuff, but by that time Randy was gone, and I respected Jake and Zach, but it didn't send me running to grab the guitar the way Randy had, and he was gone. Van Halen had hooked up with Sammy. I love Sammy. I love Van Halen. I didn't really like them together.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, and I still love the early stuff, and I was still working on it, and there were other guys too. Obviously, Uli, Vivian with Dio, and even some of the glam guys. Lynch and Martini.
Yeah.
But it was kind of getting to the point. Okay, I've heard this for years. I've been working on this for years, and hearing that Miles Davis stuff. And I think it was on public television. It was like just flipping channels, this public television concert. And it just was mind blowing. So that was right around the time we were doing the second Testament album, The New Order.
Okay. Now,
and then I had a couple other experiences like that too, all around that same time.
Now, when you discovered jazz, did that make you want to just, when you left Testament, was it because you weren't really feeling the metal at the time? You wanted to explore more on the musical side, more jazz, more other stuff?
Yeah, good question. I still liked the metal. The problem was, there were a few things going on. Like even the guys in the band will admit it was drama central. I mean, a lot of us, we've all of our bands have had these periods that may have things got difficult, and then maybe there was like a rebirth later. But yeah, we basically, if it was one of those VH1 behind the music dramas, like there was drama, and it wasn't just because of me.
Gotcha. Well, there's drama in a lot of bands, I mean, it's pretty common, Yeah.
I mean, it was heightened. I mean, it was to the point where I didn't know I'd never heard this term at the time, but the term toxic environment.
Yeah, there's toxic environments everywhere, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so there was that, and I felt like I was expanding, and I felt like I needed to move on and expand and see what else was out there. And
wow, and that's when you like late 80s, that's when you took the trip to New York. You just said, I want to study jazz full time, and you went to school there, right?
Well, by the time I did that, it was still the 90s. So I was with Testament until 93.
Okay.
So it was it was just over the next few years, and I tried. I was still in the Bay Area. I put a bunch of different projects together. It must have been like almost a half a dozen, like playing with, and that in a way that was good training. But I realized I'm not a natural band leader, and I realized once I started visiting New York and just getting to know more musicians there, I started to see what was needed to be a band leader. And I also realized that as much as I had been working on jazz on my own and, taking an occasional lesson, I had one lesson with this guy, Scott Henderson, who's kind of a legend, amazing jazz rock player. I needed to just be around it all the time for a few years. So by that time, it was a few years after leaving with Testament. But the honest truth, and not to get too deep into it, but as I mentioned, Testament at that time was going through a tough period. I would have left no matter what. And it's no coincidence. Like right after I left, Louis left. Basically, it was down to 2 original members within a couple of years. Gotcha. And then the lineup was constantly changing.
Yeah, that's right. They were constantly changing. But you came back just for a tad to help them out record on what First Strike is Deadly, I believe.
That's true. Yeah. And then that was like the first sort of dipping the toe back in the water.
Yeah, I see.
And it was better. We worked out a lot of the issues. There wasn't the pressure. Part of it was just, we're so young, and I'm younger than the rest of the guys. On average, they're like 5 years older.
Wow.
So at that time, just the pressure and these were the days, you guys remember, you had to do a record every year.
Every year you had to record,
That's
do a
insane.
tour. Yeah,
That's
it
insane.
is.
Like, even now, with all the experience I have, I if you need a song in a few days, I know how to write it, record it. I could get it together. The idea of doing a full record of the standard that you want within a year with a whole band, it's a lot. And then all the touring that was going on at that time. So that was it was just a hard period. So I think coming back for First Strike Still Deadly without that pressure, we were just able to do music and not and coexist and just sort of re-enter the process under better circumstances.
Gotcha. Well, like you said, it is a lot to write and record an album, but it's not impossible. Right. Like you said, you were younger then, you had all the time. A lot of people lived at their parents' house, no responsibilities, but now it's a bit different nowadays. But technology does help that, make it a lot easier.
Helps, experience helps.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alex.
My first gig was with you guys.
Legacy and Death Angel?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been fun. What do you remember from it? Do you remember anything fun, exciting?
I remember being really nervous. I remember it was just this rush. being on stage for the first time. Like I played in camp, and I played in a classroom,
but not at a club, at a
yeah,
bar or a club.
Played with the drummer. Yeah, we played in the classroom. That, you know, that, but yeah, a club. And at that point, I'd gone to Ruthie's a few times. Yeah, I'd been in the audience. So to be on the stage where I've been watching, yeah, it was like really, yeah, just this huge rush. I barely remember anything. And I do remember we had the song Burn Offerings, right,
yeah.
which has a slow introduction, and I do this lick with the volume knob.
Yeah,
like
it's like I know that lick.
Mm-hmm. I remember it was like so hard to do because I was shaking. But I remember first show. So then the next one was at the Stone, and I'd seen like so many concerts there. But I remember feeling a little less nervous, and then with each one, just a little less and a little less. And by the end of that first tour, where you're just playing every night, then you're in a whole other league.
Oh yeah, totally, a whole another league. But usually, I mean, I still get nervous no matter what. First, till this day, like it could be at a club show, at a festival, it could be 50 people in front. I still get nervous. But after like the first verse of a song, it kind of goes away, But that's just me. Some people it takes like halfway through the set for them to warm up and kind of like, oh, okay, that feels so much better.
Eric's like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he seems a bit jittery. Every time I catch him before he goes on, he's always, But I get it. Everyone's different. So, Alex, when you went to school in New York, in jazz school, did anybody recognize you like the guitarist from Testament when you first enrolled or anything? Or was it just a whole new genre where you go, no one knows me here. This is awesome.
I felt like that. Like, oh, this is great. Nobody knows me. It's totally starting over. And I remember there was a roll call one day. Uh-huh. They called everybody's names, and then I heard a couple people in the back go, huh?
But hey, that's Alex Skolnick from Testament.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that during school?
I didn't get a whole lot, but I was surprised. Yeah, like quite a few. And even like, I remember like the star guitar student in the school. His name's he's an incredible player. He's now a big name in jazz guitars. He's Mike Moreno. And I used to hear about him like, oh, you got to check this guy out. This is the guy to check out. Yeah, just like a real like postmodern guy. He's great player. And I would never guess he would have been into metal. And by this point, he was, like full on advanced cutting edge jazz, like one of the guys that's going to reshape jazz. But he had, when his first year or so, he had been into all different types of music and had a metal phase, and he had seen a Slayer show with Testament.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. So when I finally meet this guy, it's like, yeah, man, I saw you with Slayer. What?
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean,
and there were a few guitar players, a few of the bass players. It was less common with people that played instruments like piano or trumpet. There was there were a couple of saxophone players that knew who I was, which was surprising.
Now, do you play any other instrument, or is guitar the only instrument you play?
I guess I play piano. I have a piano.
Nice.
I started on piano and then given it up, and then I think that kind of pushed me when I played guitar to not get frustrated and stick with it. But I always I just love I'm drawn to good piano playing, and I wouldn't I don't see doing a gig as a piano player, but I've written some pieces on piano, and I record little parts on piano sometimes.
Nice. Man,
Yeah, sometimes
Alex.
people hear me and they think I'm like this professional piano player, but it depends when you catch me. Like,
Oh, okay. Like,
I have
yeah, it
moments
all depends.
that
It
sound
all
really
depends.
good. I have moments where I'm just, trying to keep it together.
All right. Alex, you mind answering some fan submitted
Yeah, it'd be a
questions?
pleasure.
Here we go. Let me get this going here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Laura from Toronto. This question is for Alex.
I remember
was
her.
just wondering what jazz musicians and photographers inspire you.
There you go. What jazz
Hi, Laura.
musician?
I remember her.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, she's been to several shows and she's gone to my trio show.
Oh, nice.
When I meet people at my instrumental shows,
Yeah.
you tend to remember them more. That's one of the fun things about doing it too, because it's a more manageable crowd.
More intimate setting.
It's way more intimate. Yeah.
Okay.
When you meet people at some of the bigger shows, like our shows,
Yeah.
like the tour we just did, it's a mob.
Yeah, they all come at you at the bus, and so many faces. It's hard to remember everyone.
Yes, but I do remember Laura. And oh God, what was the question again?
Oh, swoop. I even forgot. I gotta have jazz musicians and photographers that inspire you.
Okay, that's right. That's what I thought. Yeah, well, I mentioned the guitarist John Schofield, who when I heard that early Miles Davis music, that was he really got my attention, and then I found out, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of records that he does on his own, and I'm still inspired by him. He is he kind of like reinvented himself as like a jam band guitarist too in the 90s. Like he collaborated with Medeski, Martin and Wood, the band Government Mule.
Oh yeah,
Warren
I remember
Haynes.
Government. Yeah, Warren Haynes. Yeah,
the Allman Brothers. So he's on records with them, and so he's really like branched out. But when I got into him, he was really like this kind of well kept secret among jazz listeners. So John Schofield, the keyboardist, the piano player Chick Corea, who had also played with Miles Davis, but he's just his songs. He's very influenced by flamenco music. He's has Spanish roots. Even has an album called My Spanish Heart. Did an arrangement of the song. He has a composition called Spain, but it's based on a famous classical concerto for guitar. And you hear it in some of his music, even though he's playing piano. It's like, okay, you can totally picture a flamenco guitarist doing that. So Chick Corea, John Schofield, Joe Henderson, who's a sax player. And I really like a lot of 70s jazz rock, like stuff like Billy Cobham, his album Spectrum. Anything with Michael Brecker, the saxophonist, the Brecker brothers. So I could go on for days, but those are some.
Okay.
And in fact, the last solo I transcribed was by John Schofield, and that's on my page. It's him with Joe Henderson. And then photographers, there's a bunch. Phil Penman is a guy I follow, who's really great. There's a young photographer, youngish, 30ish, Alan. What is his name? Alan Schaller. He's just really doing some very unique things with photography. And I should mention my friend Randy from Lamb of God. I mean, he's the guy that kind of pushed me to get more serious about photography. And every now and then he takes a photo that just blows me away and inspires. And it's a common, a common name in photography, but Annie Leibovitz is incredible.
So was it Randy Blythe from Lamb of God that got you in photography?
Yeah, I think he definitely like helped me get it to a next level and realize, I could really like do more with this. I should do more with this. Because he just pointed out, he said, "Oh, you're already doing things that you get taught to do in photography classes."
Yeah.
Just like the way I was framing shots and we were on the tour a couple years ago, the Slayer, one of the Slayer legs, Slayer and Lamb of God and Anthrax. And we were working on this magazine project together. It was just like a limited print magazine, and he was doing most of the photographs, called Unbuilt. But there was one article we did where we passed around a camera, and that really like caused me to really work on the photos and try to make. And he just said, "Dude, why don't you try shooting with a real camera?" So he loaned me his camera, which actually I have mine now. It's just like this.
Wow. All right.
And after a couple weeks, just I knew I had to give it back. These things aren't cheap. But it was one of those things. It was like a guitar that you can't stop thinking about.
Yeah.
That's still in the store, and you just, all right, I just need to get the damn thing.
Yeah, whether I need to put it on like a credit card or pay cash, you just want to get it.
Yeah. And I had a birthday coming up. I thought, all right, this is going to be my birthday present to myself. But also, it's a good incentive. So like anytime I get something like that, I use it as incentive. It's like, all right, if I'm going to get like this level of a camera, a professional camera, this is made by Leica. It's called the Q. Well, I want to really know what I'm doing with it. I want to be able to manually focus it myself, not stay on dummy mode, balance the lighting, be able to play with the different focus styles, develop it well, learn the software. I mean, it's also, the technology's gotten so much better too. You don't need a dark room anymore. It's digital, but the quality is just so much higher. And it's just, it's become this really fun extension of what I already do. So when I do these bike rides, the camera comes with me, and I've gotten some of my favorite pictures while riding a bike.
You just ride your bike everywhere and just click, 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 huh? Whatever inspires you to shoot, you just go ahead and shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually not while I'm riding the bike.
Yeah, of course. But you'll stop your bike and go, "Oh, I like that shot." Click,
Yeah, or I might be riding and I'll say, "Oh, the sky looks amazing right now." And I live in a very scenic city.
Of course, New York.
So I might say,
it's very scenic. Yeah.
Say, "Oh my God, look at the light on the Manhattan Bridge right now. I gotta look at this angle, or look at the shadow. I gotta capture that." So I have a photo page, Skolnick Pics, where I post photos, and having that also is good incentive to post photos.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow that. I do follow you, but I'm gonna have to follow your pics. I've seen some of your pics; they look awesome. I think you took some bridges in New York. It's like black and white, which looks like
I've gotten
that looks
very
deep.
into black and white.
Yeah, black and white looks good. I prefer black and white most of the time over color, but that's just my preference. Yeah. Hey, Alex, you ready to answer another one? We got a question for me and you.
Absolutely.
Let's do this. Woo! I'm having a good time. Here we go.
Hello, Ted. Hello, Alex. Before I ask my question to you gentlemen, I got a little surprise for you here. Ted, this is you, sir, on Easter Sunday of 2019 in Colorado Springs. And this is of me and Mr. Alex Skolnick on the Brotherhood of the Snake Tour. And my question to you gentlemen is this. I just started playing guitar, and the only problem is I suck. So I was curious, when you first started out, how long did you practice daily? And do you gentlemen still practice today, even at your expert level?
Yeah,
Alex,
good question.
Good question. I'll tell you this. I still suck. No, but I'll let you take it this first. I'll let you take the reign on this one first. I'll come right after you.
Yeah, everybody does what they do. Great. I couldn't, if I had, I do what I do, but there's a lot of players that I couldn't step in and try to sound like them because everybody's got their own sound. But it takes a long time to develop your own sound. I'd say, if you're starting out, you do need to put in some serious time. I'm still working on it constantly. A lot of the players that I like, that I follow, are still studying. So I think it's like a never-ending thing, but especially in the beginning, just like learning the basics. If you're just starting out, you need to get it under your fingers, and it's not an easy instrument to learn. It's not. Piano is pretty easy to get a sound. Like you can have no musicality and just press down on a piano key and you have sound. Guitar is not like that. Just to get a sound out of it, right? It takes this coordination. You have to press with the left hand hard enough. You have to coordinate the right hand. The right hand has to press the string that the left hand is fingering, hopefully with enough pressure to make it. So it's some work. Obviously, Ted and I were at the point where we don't have to think about that.
Yeah,
but
it's more
to get to that point. Yeah. So man, that should be like a new full-time job for a while till you get it under your belt, and then you can let up a bit and just go in phases. When you're learning something new, put more time in. Yeah.
So Alex, when you first started, how many hours did you put in when you got going? Right when you discovered Randy Rhoads.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, because I wasn't one of these maniac players. I've talked about this on my own podcast. I have a podcast, Moods and Modes, and I've talked to some other guitar players, and I remember hearing about Yngwie supposedly like rarely leaving his room because he was always playing. There's these stories. I don't think you need to do that, but I did. I think on average, there'd be like a couple hours, but
okay.
it depended. I just tried to get it to the point where I felt like I was accomplishing something, and that the next time it would be a little better. But I had a few, there were occasional days where I'd be really working hard on it. Yeah, so after I discovered Randy, like the first time learning his licks, I would spend a lot of time. Or I did have a very short Yngwie phase. But I credit with, some of the arpeggios that I ended up doing, were, inspired by some of the Yngwie stuff. So there'd be like whole afternoons and maybe a better part of an evening just there with the guitar trying to figure out that Yngwie solo.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, me myself growing up, I spent a couple hours just learning songs. Basically, that's where everyone gets started. Trying to learn a riff or a lick or basically a whole song. But then again, I guess it all depends. Up to you. Like you said, Yngwie used to spend hours, but everyone's different. That's their trip. Sometimes they just get so obsessed with it where they just want to do nothing else but play.
Yeah.
Where me growing up, I'd play a little, then I'd go out skateboarding or ride a bike with some friends and be out all day. Everyone has their own agenda.
Yeah, and also I went through different phases too. So like, learning Ingve licks. I would spend more time learning songs in the beginning was very helpful too. And I think I did have some time my first year or two of playing where I was just learning my chords and my basic riffs, blues riffs and stuff like that. I was really at it constantly, partly because I felt like I failed at piano. So I wanted to make up for that. But I think as I got... What's that?
You wanted to redeem yourself from the piano.
Yeah, there was that. But also, I think within a few years of playing professionally, I still wanted to be as I wanted to keep improving. But I was also hearing players that sounded like they spent all day locked with a guitar and not much else. And I would go to the NAMM show, for example, and I would hear these players at the NAMM show doing what I began to think of as NAMM music, right?
NAMM music.
You know what it is.
Yeah, just like Guitar Center music, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they just go in there and wail constantly.
Yeah. It just doesn't interest me that much. So,
but you're a wailer yourself in a way,
Yeah, I think I at the right time. But there's also so much more to music than that, and it's not really what I want to listen to all the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same with like really fast thrash riffs. I love them. I'll do them. I think when they're used well, it's very powerful. But when it's just the same sounding riff all the time, it gets overwhelming, and I need a break from it. I'm the same way with solos. I mean, one of the reasons those Randy Rhoads solos are so cool is because they fit the songs so well.
Yeah, they're fast, but he knows how to mix it up. There's like nice melodic runs and sometimes a wail screeching fast, but it's not constantly fast all the time.
Exactly. And you could take the Mr. Crowley solo out of the song, but you can't cut and paste it into other songs like some solos. It's there for that song.
Yeah.
And you could play that solo to somebody and they'll know the song based on that solo.
Yeah, that's true. He wrote for the song and it's memorable. It's not like, nothing against the tech death metal guitar shredders where they're actually really good. But like he says, you could take one of their solos in that song and put it in another song and think it's new or something.
Yeah, that's right. And that's totally fine too. The type of players you're describing, it's fine. It's a different thing. But I realized early on, I really like these solos where it is like that, where it has character based on a song. And it doesn't have to be like technically virtuoso either, because I recently did a song with Charlie Benante and Ra. We've mostly been doing Rush songs, but we did one for my buddy Dave Z, the Adrenaline Mob bassist who we lost a couple years ago. And his favorite band was Kiss. And we did a Kiss song for him, Come On and Love Me. And just learning the Ace stuff, I realized, it's kind of the same thing. Even though it doesn't require the same dexterity, it's not this. It still is so such a part of the song, and you could take the solo out of the song, and you can guess the song. It's so built off of what the song is doing.
Yeah, I mean, like Ace and a lot of guitar players, they write for the song, and they just have this sound, like you said, it's them. It's not super shreddy or something, but there's just a vibe and personality to that solo that you just go, oh, like you said, you take it out, you just know who it is. Which brings me to what really was really cool. One of the tours we did together, I think it was at Z7 in Switzerland, one of the shows. Mm-hmm. I was watching you guys sound check before sound check, it was you on stage, and it was just you, and you sang a Tom Petty song. I think "Don't Back Down." I think it was one, but you played in.
It was one of the really early ones, Breakdown.
Yeah. I was like, wow, man, that's the one. I was like, wow, dude, it was just so smooth, and it was like, it's because I looked at you as like super shreddy jazz stuff, but Tom Petty is just so simplistic, and you did that so well, like it was so fluent. I was like, oh, that sounded awesome, and you sang it too, which is awesome. I
do. People don't think of me as a singer, and that's fine, because I never tried to present myself as a singer, but just learning music over the years and playing different types of music. It's just a skill you sort of need to have. And I've been, once I moved to New York too, I did a bunch of sideman gigs, and I was just in a lot of situations where we need backup vocals too. And then I got involved in this project called the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's a whole other story, but that blew up and became this holiday, top grossing arena show. And I had to do backup vocals, including on one acoustic song where it's just me and one of the singers, and nobody else on stage in front of 14,000 people at a time. That's going to develop your vocal skills.
Yeah.
So it was like, I kind of like, after Testament, I tried different projects. I tried singing at one point, but I felt like I didn't really have a vocal range. But I learned there's different types of singing that I could do. Tom Petty, I could do.
Yeah, you can.
Johnny Cash, David Bowie, most of the songs, there's a couple exceptions. The stuff that I could never sing is, I could never sing like Axl, Freddie Mercury, the original singer for Toto.
Okay.
I remember I tried a Toto song at karaoke once, and I was just like, fuck this.
But see, with karaoke, you can mess up and be badass. You don't need to be perfect at karaoke. I've done karaoke a couple of times, and I'm a horrible singer, and people are cheering. Usually, you go to karaoke, you see someone who belts it out and sings this Adele-sounding song. You kind of boo them, because that's what karaoke's for. You got to go up there and just be yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm not a huge karaoke guy, but been to Japan enough times, and gone to enough an occasional hang at a karaoke bar, and of course on these ships that we've done the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Karaoke. So I've learned that like if I try to sing a song like Africa by Toto, forget it, right? It's so high.
Yeah.
No, but I would sing other songs like White Wedding by Billy Idol. Yeah. Hey, little sister. Yeah, that's like right in my range. Johnny Cash.
You find the songs that fits you. Like you said, you're not going to do Africa, or you're not going to do Boston's More Than a Feeling. You just know it's way out of range.
There's others that can do that just fine.
Yeah.
But I've started, and I've even recorded a couple vocal songs I haven't released yet.
Are you planning to?
Yes.
All right. Alex, were you that type of guitar player? You live in New York. The music scene's awesome. Were you that type of guitar player that just strap a guitar in your back, walk down, go into a bar, and just jump up and jam with people? Open mic type deal?
I never liked open mics. The problem with those, like they tend to get really crowded. And especially I don't know how it is everywhere, but certainly in New York, you have a lot of musicians. You have students who are like up and coming musicians, that are doing it for experience. So it becomes this thing where you have to sign up on a list, wait to, and it's like I always think, what am I doing? I'd rather just book my own gig.
Okay.
But if I have friends playing, and this happens every now and then, I'll have friends playing, and they invite me to sit in, then I'll do it, and it's great. Right before our tour, I have a friend named Gil Paris, who's a really great guitar player, kind of like a contemporary jazz player, and he does project with Bernie Williams, the baseball player, who now has a music career. He was actually he's a good musician. He was a player before he got into baseball. I think career-wise, he probably made the right decision. He picked, if you can get a baseball star salary, then more power to you. But so my friend Gil Paris, they do projects together. They have like a duo project, and Gil plays around. He's played with David Sanborn and a lot of contemporary guys, and he invited me to sit in with his new projects, and that was like a week before our last tour, and that was a lot of fun. And the guys in my trio have different bands. They have their own projects or projects they play in for other people, and I'll get invited to sit in sometimes. So stuff like that I really like. But the sort of the open mic where people are waiting in line and you have to sign up, I'm not into.
Gotcha. Now, you've done all the stuff, Alex Skolnick Trio, you sit in with people all these years. When Testament finally called you to come back, I mean, were you ready to come back, or were you just like thinking about it really hard because you had you had your thing going now?
I always like to do what nobody expects me to do. I think that's part of what motivates me. So the last thing anybody expected me to do while I was in Testament was become a jazz guitarist in the future. Surprise!
Yeah, surprise! Here you are, jazzing out.
Yeah. So then, fast forward to like the mid-O's.
The mid-O's.
And I have a few of my instrumental albums out at that point. I'm playing with some other artists. And, Testament reaches out about some possible reunion shows. And I realized, okay, the last thing anybody's expecting me to do is play with Testament again. I love it. And then once I was in there, the last thing anybody's expecting to do is stay and go on to play records and tour. So, it worked out well also because I mentioned earlier, we'd hashed a lot of things out.
Yeah. And
the band was in a better place. So I also, I think I knew I wanted to do metal again in some capacity. I had already guested on Lamb of God's record.
That's right.
On Ashes of the Wake.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I'd gone to see them at Ozfest. And I met other bands there for the first time. I met the guys from Slipknot. And so at that point, Slipknot is just like blowing up. And they were fans. And the guitar player, just wanted to talk to, it's so funny. Like Mick, I know him now as Mick, but he's got this crazy mask. He's like, I want to talk to you about your guitar player. I've been listening to you for years. Yeah.
So was that?
It was so surreal. Anyway, it was a great experience. Oh, and Hatebreed was on that same show. I forget what year Ozfest this was, but like so many of these bands that I would later get to know, and I just played with Lamb of God, and I just I want to do this in some capacity, and I'm not like I definitely need to work with somebody that sort of lives and breathes metal more full time to make it work.
Yeah.
But I was sure I could find somebody from like one of these bands, maybe for a side project or something. But it was like, a very short time later, Testament reached out about the reunion, and then, okay, well, maybe the metal band that I want to play to satisfy this urge to get back into metal is going to be Testament. And that's how it worked out.
Wow, man. Yeah, man. I mean, like your whole career now, like, it's kind of Testament's like the bookend with all the stuff in between, you know?
It really became full circle.
Yeah, totally. You know, let's there's a fan question here. I want to share it for you.
Yeah, these are fun. The fan questions are fun. It's fun how you put them on the screen.
Yeah. So here we go, Alex Skolnick.
Hey guys, pack member Scott from Dallas here. Hey, questions for both of you. What are 2 pieces of advice you would give your younger self? Thanks. Have a good one.
So much.
You know, I would say I know it's a hypothetical question, but I would think probably if I had to go back and tell my younger self, I mean, I would say pay more attention to the industry and the business part of it all. I would, because it's always changing. Because I'm sure Alex, playing is great. You get caught up in playing a whole bunch of people. The fans are awesome and all this stuff that goes with it. But sometimes, if you want to make a living out of it, the business part is just as much important as the art is. But that's just my opinion.
Absolutely. And I would say, be just more awareness, a little more skepticism, certainly with the business end of things. Not everybody has your interest at heart, and that's especially true in the business. Some people do. There are really genuine, trustworthy people that you meet along the way, but it's not everybody. And you can be nice to everybody, but get who you do business with or become close friends with or have relationships, like that needs to be earned.
Exactly.
You need to get to know people better before getting close with them on any level.
That is true. Just like any other relationship, pretty much,
Yeah.
But the business part of the music, it gets pretty, I don't know. We could talk for hours about this, but Alex. But
we've all had experiences. Yeah.
We all have, but
we've all had signed deals that we maybe shouldn't have signed. Some of us have, had friends that turned out to really not be good friends, or stalkers. You name it.
You ever had a stalker, Alex?
I've had it. Yes.
Wow.
It's not. I didn't even know what stalking was. I found out.
Wow, that must have been scary, huh? I never.
Yeah, it was just a shock too, because this was a person in the kind of in the scene.
Okay. That
people knew, but didn't know that side. I think maybe there was a big drug component there. I think that probably had something to do with it. A lot of people in the scene have sort of deteriorated due to drugs. I've never been a big drug person. I just, as a high school student, tried most of what you normally try. I think in this case, it was just like, a big deterioration. And, I didn't know that happened. I mean, now years later, you hear stories and there's like news stories. There's, episodes of Oprah Not that I'm a Oprah watcher.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
At the time, yeah, it was just like, oh my God, this person like has their claws in you and won't let you move on.
Wow. Yeah, that seems pretty scary. I haven't had to go through it, but you know,
you're lucky.
I'm lucky, and I don't wish that upon anybody. You mentioned you tried out some substances, but you're more of a wine dude, because you know, on the last tour, every night I see you relaxing with a nice glass of wine. Is that your thing?
Yeah, I'm a big wine appreciator. I think that's a big part of my personality too. You know, I'm not a let's get trashed kind of person. You know, I'm not a big shots. Let's do shots. Maybe sure. Once in a while, if there's a celebration, sure. I've had ends of tours where maybe I'll wake up. Whoa, I really tied one on last night. But I've just never been one of these people to wake up every day just like, feeling like hell. And that's not why I drink. I drink because I enjoy a good wine or a good scotch or a good craft beer. And if the drink, whatever it is isn't good quality, if there's nothing good around, I won't drink it.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm like that. I don't drink at all, but on tour, I usually, last night at every tour, like the last night we had in Belgium, I'll just have a celebratory drink. I had a beer with Chuck, you know, it's one of my thing. Like the tour is over, I'll have a drink with everyone. And
I remember that. I remember that was a big deal. Ted's having a beer.
Yeah. Because it's the last night of tour. You know, everyone has their thing. Just like you like a nice glass of wine after the show with your meal, just, you know, easy. Alex,
it's a good way to cap the day.
Oh, totally. I bet. A couple of more things before I let you run, and I want to thank you for jumping on the stream. I really appreciate it.
Dude, it's my pleasure, man.
Appreciate it.
So glad we could do it.
What's the longest you went without playing your guitar?
Oh, that's an interesting question. God, it's been a while. I think, I guess there was a time in the 2000s where I was on vacation for like a couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
Yeah.
Wow, that's short. I've gone like a couple months. Where
I might have done a three weeks at one point.
Where you just let it sit and you just wasn't even thinking about it at all, right?
Yeah, I was traveling at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I just opted not to bring a guitar. It was a pain. And also I'd been playing so much. I mean, I think I'd already been through like my first semester of university in a university music program.
Where they had you playing constantly, huh?
I was constant. Yeah, I think I'd played more in that amount of time than I'd played in like the previous couple years. So
wow,
it felt really actually good to leave it alone. But by the last week, I was kind of getting itchy. It's like, all right, I need to move my fingers on a fretboard again.
Gotcha. Well, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So when you finally got to your guitar, you're like, all right, I can do this now.
Yeah, and also every time, I mean, it's rarely that long, but anytime I'm away from it for a little, enough, a day or so, when I warm up again, I find I play new things.
Oh.
And some of my best ideas happen because I'm not locked into the regular stuff I play.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Alex, here we go. It's a non-music related question. What's your take on social media? Because you're avid on social media. I follow you, and you're active. So I just want to know your take on it, because I don't know if you saw that documentary, The Social Dilemma.
I have, yes.
Yeah. So
I think everybody needs to see that. That's essential viewing, and it's amazing how it's designed to addict you, and It's also designed to divide and conquer. It has a lot to do with why we're in such a polarized place in the U.S. right now.
It is. I mean, with social media, I mean, I know that's what's going on in the background, but if you're aware of it and if you kind of know how to control it, it could be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying. I mean, I do get caught up in that addicted to your phone type, deal, always wanting to see what's going on. But, I'm doing my best now to try not to be on the phone as much as I used to be,
Yeah, I try to set limitations. It doesn't always work, especially if it's a big news day.
Yeah.
Today's a big news day. Yeah.
Yep.
The president is in the hospital. That's good. But on a normal day, I'll set it aside and I'll just say, okay, I'm not going on until noon. And then once I'm on, I'm only going to be on for X amount of time. Because it's easy to just get caught up in it.
Yeah, it is.
My philosophy behind it is just as long as you're controlling it and it's not controlling you.
Exactly.
And that's not easy. And I catch myself I'm like, oh my God, a half hour has gone by and I've been on Twitter this whole time. I have to stop.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's funny, with touring, like the three things people usually ask their tour manager is, where's the bathroom?
Right.
Where's catering? And do we have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, what's the Wi-Fi? Yeah,
what's the Wi-Fi? But there's some pros and cons. I mean, it's really good because being away on tour, you can
they keep
with your family.
We used to not have that.
Yeah, either you make a phone call from a payphone and whatnot, costs a lot of money, but being connected too much is also a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, and some people are very connected. So I do my main social media. I do my my Instagram, Twitter, and a Facebook musician page.
Okay.
And I have a couple Facebook non-musician pages. I'm hardly ever on those.
You're more of an Instagram, Twitter guy.
Yeah, and I have friends that are connected with me that aren't in music or like not in the same circles of music that might say, "Are you still alive?"
Because you're not connected on that.
Like, dude, you have to like my band page or like my musician page. You'll see I'm like constantly updating, but that's part of it. So like on the personal page, like I don't go getting into conversations I don't get into threads. I just, I don't have time because between updating, the musician page, the Instagram page, the Twitter, if it's a video, then I'm, a long video, then I'm going to post it on YouTube as well. That's a lot. And it ends up taking time. Then you got to monitor it. And, maybe I'm going to get some hate replies and I want to delete those and block those people.
Yeah.
I just did a political rap song, so I knew I'm going to get hate. I like bring it on, but
I saw that. I mean,
and that requires monitoring, and I don't mind. I don't mind if somebody says, you suck, Skolnick, stick to guitar. That's fine. But when it gets to something like, sometimes they'll cross the line.
Yeah. I mean,
you're being paid by George Soros, and
I mean, you're gonna get hate no matter what you do, whether it's ripping on a guitar or doing something different or voicing your opinion. But we're all human, that you're just expressing yourself through music.
I also, I think that's the one other thing I will add is that you can't get too caught up in it, and you can't have a thin skin about it.
No, not at all.
I think of it as a roast.
Yeah, I can see that.
I sometimes I found myself laughing at some horrible insult.
Yeah, you can't help, you can't help but laugh at it. I mean, some people get sensitive. Everyone's different, but if you laugh at it or it'll be okay. It's just words, like that saying, sticks and stones.
Yeah.
So,
somebody was like making fun of I have this gray streak in my hair. I've always had that.
Yeah. It looks
somebody was making
good on
fun
you.
of that. So somebody said, under my rap video, he looks like a granny. That's hilarious. That's actually very creative.
Yeah, it is. But like you said, you got to have thick skin. You're gonna, you're gonna get. Put it this way: you're gonna get crucified no matter what you do.
Exactly.
What you feel like doing, what people want you to, whatever. You just got to do what's in your heart. Then you just take that negative thing and just figure out a way to funnel it into something positive.
Yeah, and then if you're honest with what you're sharing, you get more people that relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. It's the world we're living in, Alex.
Yeah, it's an interesting world.
It is. Alex, thank you for taking the time off. I know you're out riding your bike in Central Park. It's awesome that you took this time with me. I appreciate it. And the people watching, they love this stream and they requested you on it. So I'm
so glad. Thank you, people. This is
time to shine. If you want to promote anything, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. So my podcast is called Moods and Modes. I started it over the summer. I've been planning it for years, and I get really creative on it. They're like little, like audio movies sometimes. And it's a combination of like jam sessions, conversations, sometimes stories. So Moods and Modes, it has, it's available on all the podcast platforms. My first instrumental artist I played with, Stu Ham, we reunited a few years ago, and we're playing again. We have an event coming up at Sweetwater, which is like the Amazon of music instruments. And that's going to be October 22nd and 23rd. We're going to be recording, but it's also going to be a recording workshop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there's links to that on my page. And then on the 25th, I'm playing at a place called Shapeshifter Lab in Brooklyn, which is like a little art space run by a great bass player, Matt Garrison. And I'm going to be playing with these great musicians, Ofer Asaf, it's a great saxophone player, Robbie Amin, drummer, Lincoln Goins, great bass player. That's October 25th. And then there's some other stuff as well, but everything is posted on my Instagram at Alex Skolnick, or my Twitter at Alex Skolnick, or Facebook, Alex Skolnick official fan page.
All right. There you go, people. That's where you can catch Alex next. Follow him on Instagram. He posts some really cool stuff. I follow him and I dig it. And I'm going to do a shameless plug myself. Death Angel's doing their virtual Christmas show, December 19th and 20th. If you want to get tickets, go to our website, deathangel.us. All the info is there. Alex, thank you again. I had a good time.
I've never caught one of those because I live on the East Coast, but I've heard they're legendary. I'm so glad you guys are continuing it in some way.
Thank you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're glad we're kind of doing something in this pandemic virtually. There ain't nothing like a really live show because it's always fun. But, we're going to take our time to make something special for this one to try to get as close as recreating the Slims one that we do every year. But
awesome.
We'll do that. So stick around real quick, Alex. Everyone, thank you for joining Alive and Streaming with the legendary Alex Skolnick. Go follow him.
Yeah, this is a fun way to do it, man. It's a beautiful day.
There you go. Alex
Beautiful
in New
stream.
York. And everyone, have a good Saturday. And don't forget to follow everyone on the platforms.
Yeah.